How many times do you see these types of photos pop up in your feed? And I don't know about you, but with Photoshop, AI, and the latest lifelike apps, how do we even know if this is real? Take this recent story, for example. Her name is Kathryn. She lost 44 kilos, that's 88 pounds. She now lives pain-free and med-free. Well, too good to be true? I contacted Kathryn, and get this, she agreed to meet with me. Kathryn, great to see that you are a real person, not photoshopped or AI. Tell us about your weight loss journey.
I had a back injury back in 2014, and so I had to stop going to I was a gym bunny. I had to stop going to the gym. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't do anything like that. And so, the weight just sort of started creeping on. I hit menopause, so that was another weight creeping on. And with my injury at 52, I was walking slower than my 86-year-old mother. I'm like, something's wrong. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And then Deb just popped up on my Facebook feed, as she does, at the beginning of February. And I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. And oh my God, it was the best thing I could have done. So in the first 8 weeks, I lost 9 kilos. Got to the end of that and thought, well, yeah, I can do a couple of more months. So I just kept going and kept going and kept going. And in 9 months, I'd released like 25 kilos. I'm like, wow. I've been pain-free, medication-free for 3.5 years. I've now released over 40 kilos, more than 250 centimetres, gone from a size 22 to a size 12, and I've got energy to burn. It's just incredible. The benefits of eating this way has just changed my life in so many ways. It's phenomenal.
Well, Kathryn, first of all, congratulations. Do you ever feel deprived of what you can and cannot eat?
There's just so many options that you're not missing out. And when I compare my food to what other people are eating, and even out for dinner, and I go, actually, I'd rather have this. I don't want what you're having. So there's no fear of missing out. There's no jealousy, no deprivation. So just changing the way we think and how we use food. Hippocrates talks about food be thy medicine. Through the change in my food, my body has, the disc missing in my spine isn't going to heal itself, but I don't have the pain and the inflammation that I used to have. And 90% of it comes back to the mindset. So it's only about 10% about the food, because everybody's on a diet. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, you don't eat beef or you don't eat, or whatever your style of food is, whether it's for religious reasons or health reasons or just personal reasons, then we're all on a diet. And so when we take away the impetus of a diet being a short-term fixed window where we're going to gain that, going to lose that weight, and then we're going to carry on with what we used to do, and we get rid of that concept of a diet and we just go make it a lifestyle. So, for someone who was feeling I was fat, frumpy, had no energy, sure, I was on a downhill trajectory to being in a wheelchair with my injury, to having that vitality to be able to get up and go without worrying about what I'm eating. I prepare my meals, I know what's available. If I get caught out, I've got backup plans for things I can do at the last minute. So if you're feeling, you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, then this is a great opportunity to get in and give it a go, and just give yourself 30 days or a couple of months just to see how you feel when you're eating good, healthy, nutritious food, and the mindset that goes with it to support you, why you're here, what brought you on here, what caught your attention, what is your why. So why do you want to feel healthier and feel better? So we've all got our driving reasons. So mine was medical to begin with, but the benefits I've had, the non-scale victories we call them, it's more than just weight loss. It's about that authentic energy, the mindset, the clarity of mind, knowing I can think clearly throughout the day. All those advantages, it's so much more than a diet. It's a lifestyle, it's a life choice, and oh my gosh, it's sustainable, absolutely 100%. So come and give it a go and see how you feel at the end of the time.
Wow, down 40 kilos, lost 250 centimetres, down from a size 22 to a 12. And I think what inspired me the most with Kathryn was her energy and her belief in herself again. Hi, my name is Teresa Granger. Recently I was approached to be a director within this organisation, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do my due diligence, because with all the fad, quick fix diets out there, how do I even know this is real? How do I even know this is working? So I wanted to meet some of our members and also meet the founder, Deborah Murtagh. So I'm going to fly down to the South Island in New Zealand and ask her, why is the standard supermarket diet just not working? And what are we doing as an organisation that is working?
I was overweight as a teenager and I tried every solution. I tried everything. I did everything we were told. I was taken to Weight Watchers at the age of 13, and that didn't really work. Certainly not long term. It worked short term, but didn't work long term. I followed the food pyramid diet, which still to this day states that we should have between 6 and 11 servings of grain. And of course, later I discovered that that was actually created by the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, and that was designed to support the Grain Growers Association. So when we start really looking into diet and weight loss and where this information has come from, none of the advice that we've been given has been designed to support human health, really. So over my years, I did find a solution, and eventually came across a program through my early studies in nutrition, and that was to understand this natural birthright called nutritional ketosis. And there's so many myths around that, but all babies are born in this metabolic state. We're born what's called metabolic flexibility, with metabolic flexibility. And that fascinated me because I started to look at our ancestors, and what I realised about our ancestors is they didn't deal with the common modern diseases, we call them, the heart diseases and the cancers and autoimmune diseases, and particularly diabetes and obesity that we're seeing everywhere now in the world. So I started following, what were they doing that made them so healthy? And I think there's this really big myth in the world that we're living longer, but that's not true. And we know through research and really wonderful data that there were many centennials that were doing very well 100 years ago. And they were healthy and strong people. And so as my research kind of went into that, what were they doing? I then compared that to what we've been told in this supermarket diet of ultra-processed foods. And the primary difference was that our ancestors utilised, they didn't have 3 meals a day or 6 meals a day. They were hunters and gatherers, they were foragers, they lived seasonally. They would traditionally gain some weight, particularly women over the harvest months, and that was around 7 to 10 kilos, looking at certain things around the world, different tribes, different societies. And then in the winter months, when food was scarce, they'd be on rations and they would lose that weight. And so that was a normal cycle. Of course, today there's no famine. It's all about the feast, and so we're not losing the weight we're supposed to be doing. And our bodies were designed to store weight for our own health and protection and evolution, but it was also designed to lose weight in this sense. As the supermarket diet and the processed food industry came about, and it was, I think, 1936, the first supermarket was opened. All of a sudden, the way that we ate as a community and as a society completely changed. And one of the key changes in there was how we would take natural whole foods and the way that we had evolved for as long as we can remember, and we completely stripped away and processed some of the key nutrients and macronutrients, and started feeding humans this new diet. And you can see very rapid health declines from the time processed foods came in within our own health, not only in our physical health but our mental and emotional health as well. So So I became fascinated by this aspect. So there was a few things. We used to eat a natural whole foods diet. We used to forage. We used to go through periods of famine, and we used to go through periods of feast. And so then, fast forward, when I was a young mum and my middle daughter Zoe was born, she was a little bit different, and she was quite non-verbal for a period of time, and I thought, there's something up with this child. And I had some suspicion that she may have been showing early signs of autism, but when it kind of reached tipping point was she was 10 months old, and I was introducing her to solid foods, and in her high chair she started having petit mal seizures and showing early signs of epilepsy. So those moments triggered me back to my early research into the ketogenic diet, which has been just celebrated not long ago, its 100th year anniversary, as known as the cure for epilepsy in children. Now, this is a really important thing to understand. Nowhere in any medical text are you allowed to use the word cure. However, this is the one exception, and where we know that if we get children with epilepsy and we put them onto this diet at a very early age and keep them there for a year or two, they can completely reverse the epilepsy, go back to kind of normal living, and they're essentially get to live a normal life. So I obviously went right into the research, and at that time I moved her to a low carbohydrate, low sugar diet and a healthy fat diet. And I then understood that there was a rich dialogue and relationship between our gut and our brain. So for the next 10 years, not only did I work very hard to find out the right diet for her brain, I was also running a weight loss clinic at the same time, and I started seeing all these crossovers, that it wasn't just neuroprotective for epilepsy, but what else is going on with this healthy ketogenic diet and relating that back to our ancestral eating. So I ended up utilising this in my weight loss clinic, and it was absolutely profound what I was seeing. And so, long story short, I ended up accumulating around 20,000 hours clinical experience working one-on-one with women in weight loss, and particularly looking after their metabolic health.
Deborah, the market is flooded with ketogenic diets and products, and we're even starting to see this, what's termed dirty keto, coming through. So what makes this program so different?
In the last decade, we've seen this uprising of fad keto diets online, circulating the internet. They weren't looking at the gut microbiome, which is our whole immune system. They weren't looking at the micronutrients that were coming into the body. So there's so much dirty keto out there. So from the outside, you'd look at a dirty keto program and you go, well, how is that healthy? And I agree. But here's the thing that people don't understand. To say somebody is on a ketogenic diet or a keto diet is the exact same thing as saying you're on a carbohydrate fueled diet. And for people to understand that, we need to understand that our body burns two different fuel sources. One is glucose and the other is ketone bodies. And we have those in our body all the time anyway. But traditionally, we used to be metabolically flexible, where our body was able to understand the information of ketones and also understand how to burn glucose. Because of this massive difference and shift in our diet over the last 100 years, we've got generations of people that have only been fueled by sugars and carbohydrates and grains, and that has contributed to massive problems in terms of insulin resistance, diabetes, and metabolic dysfunction. Now, when we reverse that and we go back to our natural birthright, what we're talking about here is actually switching your body from burning one fuel source to another. So there's nothing fake we're trying to do, but I think what people think is they look at a keto diet as a fad diet. They don't understand that this is completely different. To say you're on a keto diet is to say you're on a carbohydrate fueled diet, just a normal diet. What we're talking about underneath it all is what fuel source your body is burning.
So why would I not just Google ketogenic diet? There must be a free healthy version online.
I think that to understand what the ketogenic diet is you can do a lot of research and understand that, but what I'm really interested in is the science, the hardcore science, the published studies. And I think what the problem is that there's so many terrible versions of this, and the key thing particularly for weight loss is how much fat do we have? What's the macronutrient ratio? How many carbohydrates, fats and proteins is ideal for women's health, for our thyroid health, for our metabolism? And the standard keto diets out there are usually 80-85% fat. Mine is the lowest fat ketogenic diet out there, but it's not just that ratio. We're able to achieve nutritional ketosis, retrain the body to become metabolically flexible. We're able to reduce inflammation and balance hormones, but we're also looking at the whole foods. What were we supposed to eat? And actually what's pleasurable, what's good for us. And so you need a really holistic program that, there's 30 years experience that has gone into this program through clinical evidence, through research. And, you can take the 30 years road if you want to, or you can join a program that's been enormously successful for, hundreds of thousands of women around the world. The other side of it is that, as I said earlier, you can have the best diet in the world, but that's not enough. 98% of how we live our lives is our mindset, our psychology. Life's not easy. It's not an easy road. We have all had traumas. We've all got ups and downs. There's lots of external stresses, and that plays a massive role on how we live our lives and our lifestyle, and particularly our relationship with food. And I do see food as a relationship. It's either really loving and kind and nourishing and rewarding and just beautiful, or it's soul destroying, it's dysfunctional, it's abusive, and it's off and on. And so when we start looking at food from a different paradigm, and people have got the inspiration to actually follow through because they've got the science, so it all makes sense. And then what I love about it is that literally within the first week, people feel what I'm talking about. They feel this aliveness. It's like they wake up in the morning and the curtains are drawn in their minds, and they've got mental clarity, often for the first time in decades. So it's actually really easy just to keep going. And I think support is so important. It's what I call an intelligent person's diet. There's no easy way. You have to eat certain things, you have to be interested in your health, you have to be invested in your well-being, and you have to want this. You have to want to get off that yo-yo dieting cycle. You have to want to be the healthiest version of yourself. And you want, for me, I have this thing about living long and dying fast. I don't want to spend 20 years of my life dying slowly on medications and kind of signing up for that reality. And the average person over 50 is on 2 medications now around the world, and that is just a pathway towards not a good quality of life. So I think when we make the key decision that we want to live our best life, and then we start seeking the answers to health and well-being and longevity, this program makes complete sense for that, because we're not only looking at longevity and how to reverse, because this program reverses your biological age. I just turned 50, and I'm a grandmother, and I've lived this way for well over 20 years, and I think I'm doing pretty good. I feel younger now than I ever have, and without getting into too much detail, the way this works metabolically in the body is it's constantly cleaning up dead and unhealthy cells and recycling them and producing the growth of new mitochondria that is, you can feel it in the body. It makes a massive difference.
So let's say I want to join this program, this community, what will I get?
So I think if anybody's curious about the program, and if they've been listening to this and it just something inside them, it's resonating, I really believe that our soul whispers and is trying to communicate what's right for us. So, if people are feeling that sense of intuition that, hey, this could be something that is worthwhile, trying, I would absolutely encourage them to join it. We give a 30-day money-back guarantee, so nobody's going to lose There's an incredible amount of resources within the program. It's mind-blowing actually when you go in there. There's thousands of women in our community ready to welcome every new member. A lot of them are extremely experienced, and you know, we put a massive thing onto community and sisterhood and love and compassion, and we create this beautiful safe space for women, because I know how hard it is for most women that have been on a dieting cycle for so long that often they don't have that peer support or that support from their partner or their community, and often there's a lot of shame around trying another diet. So we just eliminate that by creating a safe space and an incredible community. It's one of the things I'm most proud of that we've created within the sisterhood and within the program, is just that. So people can click the link, and we look forward to welcoming them over there.
Wow, what a journey. And I think if I've learned anything on this journey, it's been that this program is not about weight loss. It is about education into experiencing optimal health and inner vitality in your life and just feeling fabulous in your skin. So I think, to Deborah's point, if this resonates with you, come and join us, and I will see you in the community on the other side. See you soon.